I want to ask you something that you've referenced. He wants a Catholic Taliban. Like politically, what does he want? I mean, I know he wants white men to be in charge or whatever, but how is that translating in terms of like day to day? Are they supporting candidates? Are they trying to take over school boards? What is his movement actually like concretely?
So yes, they're supporting candidates. They're also trying to use their relationships with people within the GOP to further spread their message. I think one thing that we can look at is during the past midterm elections, the America First movement had thrown their support for Joe Kent, who was in Washington State, and they basically just completely supported him, and they ended up getting into a fight eventually when Joe Kent disavowed him. But they are throwing their support and their mass influence on social media behind certain people, and they're also they're holding their own. They are holding also a conference that is held next door to CPAC, the big conservative political action conference. And at this conference, they've had a number of far-right lawmakers come and speak. And so that's where we saw Representative Paul Gosar speak. That's where we saw former Representative Steve King speak. And of course, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene. And so their goal is basically to use some of these far-right representatives and Congress people to further spread their message and infiltrate the GOP.
Yeah. Well, I guess I want to look forward, and so maybe we'll end with this. It is very easy to mock these people. I think I've demonstrated that previously on the show as well. But they're serious, and a lot of these people seem perfectly comfortable with a lot more political violence in the world than there is right now. So they pose serious threats to democracy and to people's safety. But now that he's been elevated so much by this Kanye Thanksgiving Trump thing, do you think that he's basically done? Do you think that he could not survive so much sunlight being poured on him? I mean, even Marjorie Greene is disavowing him. I know not everyone has, but what do you think his future is now? Will he have the influence that he wants, or should the media pay attention to him? Should they be concerned, or should we go back to ignoring him? What do you think?
We should absolutely continue to pay attention to him. I think if anything, he has more influence than we've seen before. I think he is still working with Kanye West, and he is, we just saw an interview with him the other day where Kanye is sharing the same ideas that we've heard Fuentes share, about Christian nationalism especially, and about his blatant anti-Semitism. And so we're seeing these same messages just be spread, but it's through Kanye West, who has a platform of millions of people. And so I think the one other thing I will just note is that part of what Nick Fuentes and the America First movement wants to do is they want to expand the Overton window. That's the window of acceptable political discourse. And they want to move that further to the right. And so, this is what they're able to do when they have people like Trump who refuse to disavow them, or they're able to talk with Kanye West and spread that further. So I think we really should be paying attention, and I think it's a real danger.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you mentioned Trump there, because while Marjorie Greene has been a little bit critical of Nick Fuentes recently, Trump's main response to the Thanksgiving event was, "I don't know this guy." Not, "I've learned about this guy and I'm horrified by what I've heard." And inside sources seem to indicate that he's worried about turning off Nick Fuentes' base. So that's very much, especially with Trump still being a candidate, something to be worried about. Well, I want to thank you for your research and tracking and profiling him, as well as others, and for joining us. I've been a longtime fan, by the way, of Right Wing Watches. Like they follow people who are influential in communities that the vast majority of the media aren't even aware of exist, let alone actively follow. So thank you for being a part of that and for your work. We really do appreciate it.
Thank you.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.